Venus syndrome is just another name for a terminology known as a runaway greenhouse effect. This is when the oceans begin to boil away due to the rising temperatures around the globe. This is when you have Arctic permafrost melting down. It's when you have pockets of methane that have been stored underneath the ice sheet under the ocean thawing. This is due to warm water being funneled into the Arctic now because because of processes like geoengineering, which have changed the ocean currents and the wind currents, the convection. Manipulating the jet stream has dire consequences. When you have warm water pushing into the Arctic, it melts the ice underneath the ocean. So even though they're spraying the sky to reflect the thermal radiation back into space to try to keep the Arctic cold, this warm water is still pushing in from under the ice, causing the Arctic to melt even faster. This is known as Venus syndrome. We're already in the beginning phase. It's the most terrifying theory I've ever heard. It's probably the most terrifying outcome that could ever be grasped. And I don't think a lot of people can grasp it. So let me try to clarify any misinterpretation you might have about it. It's not a sunny, hot resort. It's not a paradise. If it is a paradise, it's a trouble in paradise. We're talking about an inferno. We're talking about pressure cooker status. Pressure cooker status is what Venus is currently. It's a pressure cooker planet. It's the hottest planet in our solar system, despite the fact that it's not the closest planet to the sun. Mercury still has ice at its poles. You might not have known that. Look it up if I'm wrong. Mercury actually has a north and south pole, and there's ice. Venus, on the other hand, is roughly 700 degrees Celsius at the surface temperature. So we think that 31 degrees Celsius is a really hot day. On Venus, 700 degrees Celsius is a normal day. And some people would say we would never see anything like that in our time frame. That isn't until 50 or 100 years down the road. And even if that was true, which it isn't, by the way, but let's just entertain and humor ourselves here. Let's say that 50 or 100 years down the road, then we have to worry about climate change, because apparently we don't need to worry about it right now. The Trump administration's got it all under control, right? But let's say it does happen in the future as opposed to in the next 8 years. So let's say in 50 years, the planet starts to become like Venus. Our children and our grandchildren are still going to be here, hopefully. But they would not last very long if these programs continue. So even if it were true that we don't need to worry about it for another 50 or 100 years, that's still pretty damn soon. 50 years is too soon, 100 years is too soon to me, but to other people are like, oh, what a breath of relief. We don't need to worry about this for another 50 years. You're mistaken. It's not going to happen in another 50 years. It's not going to happen in 25 years. It's not going to happen in 15 or 10 years. It's going to happen in as soon as 8 years that these changes will start taking place. And some people might find that hard to grasp, and maybe they don't even want to listen. I suspect that a lot of people tune out a lot of the things that I say and ignore me. They won't be able to ignore this issue for much longer. It doesn't matter how insane I look. I don't really feel insane. I did feel insane at first, but now I realize just how ridiculously, hopelessly moronic that a lot of people are, and especially in my community. Oh my God. Like, I've done my best to have a very balanced approach, be rational, be mild-tempered, you know, not get angry, not call people names, not use insults. But I gotta tell you, every day I log into Facebook and I look at my news feed, I'm sick. I feel sick from what I see. A lot of people I come into contact with, they already know my situation that I'm trying to get exposed to the public. And to see the garbage and the cancer that they're contributing to with their thoughtless, unoriginal posts. They're garbage, just pure garbage. I'm just looking through the news feed. I'm just like garbage, 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 hypocrisy, hypocrisy, and more garbage and shitty memes. That's all I see in my news feed, and it's despicable, especially given everything else that's been going on. I don't know how you people look at yourselves in the mirror. I don't. I really it actually it escapes me. And I get it, you know. I might be extreme, or I'm looking at it from my point of view, so I'm right and everybody else is wrong. It's not how I see it at all. It's a life-threatening situation. In a life-threatening situation, conditions change. It isn't the same as is the dress black or blue or white or gold or the transgender bathroom issue or any other issue. It's an issue of life or death. And to see that people are so incapable of cognitive rational thought, I know that it's due in part to the aerosols that they're spraying, and because they're breathing it in, it's dumbing them down and affecting their cognitive function and their short-term memory loss. It's affecting me as well. I forget things all the time. I seem to suffer from different mood swings during the run of a day because the aerosols like fuck with my head. Say, no, Colton, you fuck with your head. Yeah, but if I fucked with my head, I would at least have ownership of it. This is not the same thing. And it happens every day. I've been more aggressive, more hostile lately, but only because I'm so pissed off that we're letting this happen without fighting it. I can't stand that. I can't stand the thought of running away from the things that scare us or from the problems that we're meant to cope with. I didn't take a stress leave from work because my job was too much for me to handle. In fact, the job is too easy, and going there just feels like a waste of my goddamn time. In these 2 weeks that I've had off work, I've gotten a lot done. My Canadian passport's going to be arriving soon, so I'll be able to take a trip down to California. I'm hoping to get a chance to speak with Dane Wigginton, the lead researcher at geoengineeringwatch.org, because I find he's full of insight, and it would be an honor to be able to speak with him, to show him my support, even though he knows that he already has it, even though it's not necessary. I don't know how long I'm going to be alive or be on this planet. So the one thing I want to get off my little to-do list here is meet Dane Wigginton, say that I had a chance to shake his hand or say hello. That's all I'd like. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm being a little bit self-indulgent. I'm like saying, fuck work, I'm done. And I'm just doing my own thing because I don't usually get the time to do my own thing. I am going to eventually go back to work and pretend like I care and pretend like I'm a productive member of society. But my only job is to expose and stop geoengineering. That's my passion. That's my goal in life. That's my aspirations. People would always ask me that as a kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you aspire to be? Well, I'd love to get world peace. Oh, you can't do that. Well, I'd love to, I don't know, make the world a better place. Oh, you can't do that either. We meant like, did you want to be like a carpenter or police officer, or, a doctor? You could make a lot of money and you'd be doing the world a solid. Well, I like to write. Oh, no, you can't do anything with writing. Writing's, you can't do anything there. Oh, okay, so I can't, so the things that I really like don't really make me a lot of money and don't really contribute to the greater good of society. Okay, I get it. You just want me to do something that I fucking hate, look myself in the mirror and pretend like I'm supposed to be satisfied with the current state of affairs. I'm not. I'm disappointed, of course, in the government and in the powers that be, and of course I'm more than disappointed. I'm abhorred. I'm appalled. They're poisoning us. They're killing us. Who I'm really disappointed in is our society, our propensity toward ignorance, and our inability to focus on issues that really matter. That's got to change. People have to wake up soon, or Venus syndrome will take us, and it'll happen in as quickly as 8 years. And in case you weren't that good at math, 8 years is actually less than 10, so it's less than a decade. So it's not, 50 years, it's not half a century, it's not a century, it's not even a decade. So what are we going to do with our time? What really matters at this point? This issue matters above all else. If you aren't a part of the cure, you must be a part of the disease. You must be proliferating the cancer. You must support what's going on. I had a very ignorant individual who, if they did any amount of respectable research or any amount of self-inquiry or self-reflection, they would know that these programs are going on. But he said to me, there's no tangible proof that geoengineering is happening. Wait and see. Everybody's going to know before this year is over. That's how confident I am and how certain I am that this is what's happening. It's not a matter of I'm right and you're wrong, haha, I'm so smart, let me stroke my intellectual ego, stroke my... Everybody has their fucking ego, right? And they think that just because they're smarter than other people that it, like, makes them better as a human being. That it gives them some amount of credibility. I don't do it to stroke my dick and my ego around and fucking get people to validate or accept the things that I say. I'm just giving you the truth. And it's not doom and gloom. It's not alarmism. It's mathematics and science. That's all that it amounts to. There's no speculation involved. How much more proof do you... Like, you already know that it's happening. You must. You would have to be in denial to not see this happening. They already admitted that they're doing it. Oh, but they just started doing it a couple of days ago. They just started. But it's been going on for 70 years. It's time to wake up, people. Look up Venus syndrome. Look up runaway greenhouse effect. If you don't know what it is now, you will soon, if we don't stop it. And this whole planet's going to go up into flames. Do you really think your job's going to matter in another 8 years if the planet goes up in flames, or if maybe Fukushima will kill us first? We don't know at this point because there's so many converging catastrophes coming all at once, including vaccines, but nobody wants to talk about that either, do they? Everything is so controversial, and if it isn't about Kim Kardashian's ass, or America's Next Top Model, or the next season of The Walking Dead, or the next Marvel movie, or Donald Trump, it just doesn't exist on the public's radar. And we argue about Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, and we just don't realize that this is all just a grand facade. These are all just puppets on a string. When is everybody going to wake up? We have been dumbed down. We've been metamorphosized into being robotic drones, sheep, and we're being herded to the gallows every single day that we choose to do nothing. And everybody just wants to lie, roll over, laugh at a meme, jerk off, and then go to bed. I've just described about 80% of people's lives in that short sentence. Okay, that's 80%. Maybe it's higher than that, but seriously, that's all people do. They don't care about anything else outside of their own little world, and that needs to change, or else Venus syndrome is the final result. It's the end of the road. I'd love to see a change. I'd love to see better things come forward. I would like to believe that there's a future and a hope for the world and for the next generation. But every day I log into Facebook, or every day I go out in my public day-to-day life, I'm so disgusted by what I see. And if the content of this video shredded my credibility somehow, I apologize. I'm just pissed, okay? I didn't mean to use revolting imagery or vulgarity or anything like that, but I am 23 years old. I am from a different generation, and vulgarities are very common. Not to try to excuse my language or anything, but correct me if I'm wrong. Honestly, correct me if I'm wrong. If I didn't just describe like 80% of the population in what I said earlier, please fact check me. Seriously. has to change. And I already contacted the government, and I've already contacted the Nova Scotia Liberals, Cecil Clark, the CBRN. I'm going to try the other Atlantic provinces as well, try their government, see if they'll respond. But ultimately, it's up to us. We know it's happening, so we have to get the word out there. We have to reach critical mass awareness. We have less than 8 years, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look inside ourselves and figure out what really matters and how we really want to spend our time while we still have time to do so. Make your voices heard. Thank you for watching this video, and forgive me for my immaturity and my propensity toward being disrespectful, but I'm just tired. I'm tired of what's been going on. I'm very tired of it. Venus Syndrome. Look it up so that you can see where our lives are heading. It's time to gather a little bit of courage and face the wind. It's time.